Sprinkles if you got them. Jack's Donuts. Find a location near you. Now.
This is the Frells family's land. When the sun comes out, the kids run and play right there. This used to be a shed. Now, it's where they get breakfast. This is more than just land. It's home. The Frells family runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor. This land isn't the only thing that should live on for generations. Nothing runs like a Deere. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
Visit Reynolds Farm Equipment, your hometown John Deere dealer today at reynoldsfarmequipment.com.
You're good at making big announcements. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
Craving comfort fresh food made from scratch daily? Check out Aspen Creek Grill. Located across from Hamilton Town Center and beside the Holiday Inn, we offer family farm-raised premium Black Agnes steaks hand-cut daily, creamy pastas, salmon chicken, and fall-off-the-bone ribs. Start with our famous powwow shrimp appetizer and don't miss our refreshing drinks. Family friendly or a great night out with friends. Aspen Creek Grill. Aspen Creek Grill, Noblesville. Call 317-559-3300.
Burtner Electric Incorporated has been proudly serving our residential and commercial customers with quality electrical repair for over 33 years. We are fully licensed and insured in electrical wiring and electrician service packages. You'll receive a competitive assessment, whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, first-time or long-time customer. We offer free estimates for any new project. Call our licensed and experienced electricians today.
All I ever wanted was to feel loved. He said he loved me. My friends told me it wasn't a big deal. They thought he was so cool. But they didn't know what he wanted me to do.
All I ever wanted was to feel loved. You have no idea the kind of pressure I felt to take things to the next level. Things were moving so fast. I was basically the only person in the freshman class who hadn't done it yet. So, we did.
I loved him.
I thought she loved me.
My health class had CPR at school. I stayed after class to talk with the instructor about it. They showed me that it didn't have to be that way.
They showed me that I get to make my own choices.
There is another way.
That's the best thing CPR gives you. Another way. A better way.
A healthy way. Sometimes you don't see it because you're in your own world, but they don't make you feel bad. They talk to you like a real person, and they save kids from really unhealthy decisions. They tell the truth, and they know what they're talking about. So yeah, my life was different. I started to choose the better way.
I honestly don't know where I'd be or what I'd be doing had it not been for CPR.
You want a career that creates experiences that are impossible to forget. By studying sports and events at IUPUI, you'll get hands-on experience in and out of the classroom. And with Indy as your classroom, there are high-profile events, sports franchises, hotels, museums, and large organizations across the city to engage, educate, and enlighten your student journey before you graduate. There isn't a better city than Indianapolis to get the experience you need to prepare you to handle any event, big or small. It all starts here.
High school sports fans, welcome back to Game Time. To pure spirits, to pure sport. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
You want a career that will transform your life while you change the lives of others by helping them live well. With a health or exercise sciences degree from IUPUI School of Health and Human Sciences, you will gain an in-depth understanding of the healthcare industry while preparing you for a variety of graduate and professional programs in health. And with Indy as your classroom, you will have clinical options within leading hospitals right in our backyard, as well as a degree from Indiana University, reputable leaders in the healthcare industry. It all starts here.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
After the Marine Corps, I was diagnosed with PTSD and became homeless for 15 years. Like a hermit living on the street, I just existed. I came to Wheeler Mission. Wheeler operates on a culture of kindness. Going through their programs reminded me that my meaning in life is to serve God. God set me free from anxiety and depression. Before Wheeler, I just existed, but today I live.
Sprinkles if you got them. Jack's Donuts, find a location near you, now.
Hey conductor, how about something new? You played this last year. Come on, get your head out of your sacks. Shh, we're trying to hear. Well, I'm sick and tired of hearing your kid play the wrong notes. Where's my kid solo?
At least you can see your kid. Why is my kid stuck way in the back?
The conductor only plays his favorites.
My kid heard that solo!
You saying my kid?
And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Hanover College as we bring you Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference Championship Soccer here this afternoon. It's the top seed Panthers of Hanover coming in at 12-2-3. They'll take on the Fighting Engineers of Rose-Hulman at 9-2-6 on the season. Today's game brought to you in part by the Morales Group. Building better futures one story at a time. Burtner Electric, serving greater Indianapolis and the surrounding counties. Also by Piper Logistics. From warehousing to transportation, we do it all. And by Reynolds Farm Equipment, serving our customers and the community since 1955. It is a windy day. We're expecting those winds to contain basically this entire field with 30-mile-an-hour winds throughout the entire afternoon, which will be interesting. And we're also expecting rain today as well, and that could be a huge factor in this matchup between these top two seeds. Troy Derengowski, Adam Derengowski with you today. The one thing we noticed the most, though, Adam, was the way the wind is blowing and how that's going to affect the play here on this pitch.
Yeah, you kind of hate to have the conditions be like this for a championship game because it does factor in quite a bit, but I think being aware of it is important, and planning for it is important as well. We saw both sides really focusing on those low shots, keeping the ball on the ground, not allowing the ball to get up in the air where the wind can play with it a little bit. So being aware of it's key, but you still got to play through it.
Yeah, the wind is blowing from the south to the north, and that's where the eventual rain that we're expecting will be coming through as well. And we're going to talk in depth about these two teams coming up in just a couple of moments because both these teams are very defensive-minded, and there could be a change in the goalkeeping as well. Let's go to our public address announcer for the introductions of today's teams.
Tournament championship featuring the number 2 seed visiting Rose-Hulman Fighting Engineers, number 1 seed, the home team, the Hanover College Panthers. At this time, let's meet today's starters. First for the visitors on the scoreboard. In goal, number 1, Natalie Dillon. Number 3, Lauren Recorded. Number 5, Camille Clark. Number 6, Megan Fodder. Number 7, Lane Lawrence. Number 9, Tracy Orjura. Number 10, Kiana Martin. Number 18, Sarah Shoemaker. Number 21, Grace Hobson. Number 25, Kylie McKee. And number 28, Jaden Gibson. Rose-Hulman is led by head coach Amy Hallowell. And now the starting lineup for your home team on the scoreboard. In goal, 00, Sabrina Henderson. Number 2, Josie Datillo. Number 5, Ainsley Spalding. Number 10, Kenna Patterson. Number 13, Callan Johnson. Number 15, Sammy Apston. Number 16, Nora Ludwig. Number 21, Kate Bentner. Number 27, Cassidy Lett. Number 32, Aaron Terry. And number 33, Beth Cook. The Panthers are led by head coach Jim Watts. At this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your caps for the playing of...
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
I'm Keith Myers, Vice President of IndianaSRN. Thanks for joining us. Do you know IndianaSRN broadcasts 350 games a year all sorts of sports? Yeah, we do. Hard to believe, isn't it? IndianaSRN loves to put student athletes first on our website. If you're a business out there, we probably could help you too. Contact us at coach@indianasrn.org. Grandma from out of state thanks you. Mom and dad who can't get to the game thanks you as well. In fact, our athletes watch the games over and over again. Our military has enjoyed the games as well. So sit back and enjoy the game. It's IndianaSRN.
Welcome back once again to Hanover College as we get set for this women's championship matchup. We talked about these two teams just briefly before the introductions a little bit ago. These two teams met earlier this year, Adam, and low-scoring affair. We kind of expected that, and it very well could be the same thing today besides the conditions. Both teams are very good defensively.
Yeah, the back lines deserve a lot of credit for both of these squads because all year they've been really consistently good. You look at Rose-Hulman. They have 8 consecutive shutouts coming into this game, which is pretty impressive. And a lot of that credit goes to the defense, but a lot of credit as well should go to the keepers on both sides. They've been really incredible. You look at Hanover. They are 10-0-3 in their last 13 games and haven't given up a lot of scoring. So, like you mentioned, we are anticipating a low-scoring affair. The conditions certainly don't help. I don't know if you can see in that shot. The flags in the background are pretty stiff out there, consistently waving. So it should be interesting to see how both teams attack it. Strategically, looking at which side they picked, Hanover won the toss and decided to have the wind in their face to start the first half. Curious to see how that plays out as the game goes along.
And as we go along, we'll talk about these two teams as they prepare for this matchup here today. The winner gets the automatic qualifier to the Division III NCAA tournament. Now, Rose-Hulman, the team in red, they're going with the wind here in the first half of play. Now, we're going to keep an eye on that throughout the entire afternoon because the way the wind has been gusting, the ball's going to carry a lot right to left, but when you go left to right, it's really going to hang up several times if you get that ball into the air. The pitch itself, very low cut. It's going to play fast here today, and Hanover now in the attacking third as they will work in the box, and defensively right there, Rose will get the stop. We want to mention that we talk about Natalie Dillon, and she's in goal today for Rose-Hulman on the year. She's averaging at a 0.53 goals against average. That is tremendous, a saves percentage of .879. We thought maybe on the other side for Hanover that Maggie Heingardner would get the start today. She came in at 0.78 goals against, but Sabrina Henderson is going to get the start here today for Hanover. So that's kind of a surprise to all of us that she is starting here this afternoon.
Yeah, and that could be several factors that go into that decision, right? I mean, who knows if the goalkeeper today has had a little more experience in inclement weather games. Maybe there's just that comfort factor that the head coach had to really think about as he made that decision today.
By the way, the two teams here, as you see the control of the ball going out of play on the far side, so we have a throw-in now for Rose-Hulman. Rose-Hulman knocked off Anderson in the semifinals. It was a draw at the end of regulation. They go into overtime. It ends up in a penalty kick situation where Rose ended up winning that one 3-2, so they advance after that tough matchup. And then on the other side, Hanover played Mount St. Joseph, won it 2-0. The numbers, you say, well, 2-0 isn't bad, but from a shooting standpoint, it was all Hanover, 24-14 in that matchup there. So they come in with a hot hand as now you'll see the Panthers working into the attacking third. See if they can put things in scoring position right here. Kenna Patterson deep in the corner. Now that's going to be a tricky crossing pass. Again, that way that wind is blowing from right to left, anything that you see is going to sail away from the goal. So we'll keep an eye on that. And by the way, the weather's not expected to get any better today either.
No, I think it's going the other way if it's doing anything.
Well, and if it gets to where we're expecting maybe a little bit more rain, we'll keep an eye on that. They're thinking maybe around 2 o'clock this afternoon, which would put us at right about halftime going into the second half. It could really be interesting how this pitch will handle the rain, how much slop we're going to see the rest of the afternoon. So I think both these teams want to get that early lead and try to hold on to it in the second half. Throw in here for Rose. Give you some of the numbers for this Rose-Hulman team coming in with 6 draws this year. Again, their defense has been very, very good. They've scored 47 goals, so they're averaging about 2.76 goals per game. But you look at the defensive side giving up only 0.53, and they outshoot their opponents by 10 in each and every match this year. So they have certainly had an advantage there. They've had 173 shots on goal, and their shots on goal percentage at .541. Those numbers, by the way, will sound good until you start hearing what Hanover's been able to do this year offensively. Take away at midfield. Keeper coming out to return that one as the ball, a 50-50 ball outside the attacking third right now. Let's see if Hanover can put it in play. Nice job for Rose-Hulman on defense. Grace Hobson, senior out of Hanover, Michigan, able to make the return there. And wisely, the ball taken out of play, and that'll be able to give the Panthers a chance to set things up on defense. We are just underway, 40-30 to go. Here in the first half, the number 1 and 2 seeds in the HCAC Women's Soccer Championship, the men's championship taking place today in Terre Haute. So the Fighting Engineers of Rose-Hulman a chance to host, and they're expecting rain there as well. So it appears nobody's going to get away from the rain and conditions here on this Saturday.
To be fair, in Indiana at least, we've been pretty lucky in terms of weather. So now we're getting payback, I guess.
Let's talk a little bit about the leaders on these two teams. When you look at Rose-Hulman coming in, Kyra Hicks wearing number 32, and we'll call her name a lot today, 8 goals and 6 assists. Lauren Marquardt wearing number 3, 8 goals and 3 assists on the year. And then, of course, Lane Lawrence wearing number 7, 6 goals and 4 assists. But we've got a really special player on the other side. Watch for number 33, Beth Cook, and what a year she is having for the Panthers at 20 goals, 7 assists, 62 shots on goal, and a .667 shots on goal percentage. So if you're the Panthers, you want to get the ball with her as much as you can here today.
Well, and she's already had a few touches so far in this game that looked promising. They didn't go anywhere, but I think that's credit to Rose's back line doing a nice job swarming the ball. But she's had a few good touches so far. See if that keeps up.
Just on top of the box, and then that defense again for Rose-Hulman able to stop the attack. One of those there again was Grace Hobson. We've called her name a couple of times already for the Fighting Engineers. And Rose-Hulman back on offense. Now, again, we'll keep an eye on where that ball sails, a 50-50 ball just shy of midfield. And then the return for Hanover as they'll work it on the sideline. Patterson defended there by Jaden Gibson. She played her high school soccer at Brownsburg. And now Hanover back on the attack the other way as they'll take it far side. And you could kind of tell, I don't think you can see it from home if you're watching, but you could kind of tell there where the ball got in the air and then it sailed left and went out of play.
Yeah, and I think to combat that, you just got to try and keep it on the ground as much as you can, right? I mean, obviously, situationally, that's not always possible. But in order to control the ball, you're going to have to keep it on the ground and make smart passes, smart decisions.
Now, we saw Coach James Watts, who's the head coach at Hanover, before the match, and we asked him, how do you combat the wind?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, we ignore it.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the best advice you can give your team is just pretend it's not happening.
Well, and this sounds very like old school, but it is true. I mean, both teams are playing in it. You just got to deal with it. It's not going to change, so you just got to fight through it and do the best you can.
And it certainly isn't like it's the first time they played in
tough
conditions, for sure. But neither team at this point with a shot on goal as you see the play at midfield. And now Rose-Hulman back on the attack. Lauren Marquardt, first-year player, able to send it to the near side. And then The ball by Jaden Gibson knocked down. And now at midfield again. Good defensive play by Alicia Rodriguez in the lineup now for Rose-Hulman. That ball into the box. And the interesting story, and we talked about this a little bit ago, is how will Sabrina Henderson play today? We got word on that just before the start of the matchup that she would be in goal. And she has played some minutes this year, so it isn't like she's just wet behind the ears and hasn't played at all. She's gotten some minutes in. And it'll be interesting to see how she plays as that ball goes past the end line.
Yeah, she's got 2 starts under her belt. She's played in 7 games so far this year. And she's a junior. She's an upperclassman. So, I think it's a clear indication of trust from that side that they're willing to put her in goal in such an important matchup. But by no means is she new to this. I think she has an understanding of Hanover's strategy, what they want to play, how they want to do it. But it is interesting to see such a big change from the hotter hand to go with a less experienced, not inexperienced goalie in such a monumental game.
Well, you saw that ball hang up there on the goal kick as the ball will come out of bounds near side, and Hanover will have a throw in. You could see the ball hang up, and so the keeper that is moving from left to right isn't going to get as much distance on the ball. Generally, you see that ball sail all the way to midfield before a play could be made on it. That one might have gone 30 yards before it was knocked down by the wind. Now, the wind is steady, but it is also gusting, and we talk at gusts of 50 miles an hour at times today, which will be a key factor. Kenna Patterson able to put it back into play once again. A good look there at Kate Bettner out of Noblesville, Indiana. Again, the winner of this game will be the champion of the tournament and will advance to the NCAA as they get the automatic bid. For these two teams, you look at the history they have had. Really, Hanover has won the history at 11-2-4 in the meetings they have had, and Hanover here at home against Rose-Hulman 8-0-1. But they played again to a scoreless draw the last time they got together, and these two teams are two of the better teams, not only defensively in the conference, but in the nation as well. So we kind of thought even coming in, it could be a perfect day, and you may not see many goals.
Right. They do a good job of, once the opposition gets into their third, they do a good job of pressuring the ball, not allowing them to make any easy plays. They take away a lot of that. Missed opportunity right there from Rose. Pretty good favorable bounce in that 18 box.
Yeah, that was a Jaden Gibson, who's also out of Brownsburg, had an opportunity there on the left side, unable to deliver. So we have a goal kick now for Sabrina Henderson. You kind of tell, too, that Henderson is not trying to strike it long, because that's not going to happen.
Right.
So they've kind of played it off that corner where they'll be safe with a pass and try to get back into their transition offense. And now Hanover back on the attack, and well, you get disrupted pretty quickly with Marquardt there just past midfield.
Yeah, that was a great job closing out, being very sound fundamentally on defense, not letting herself get off balance and not giving much space to the Hanover attacker.
Good cross that time, but it was knocked down as that Fighting Engineers defense able to get back into the box and stop the attack as the ball now comes to midfield. So Hanover will go back on offense, and you kind of like the idea of what they're doing here. They're going to make Rose shift side to side, try to wear them down a little bit here in the first half, knowing in the second half they'll have the wind behind you. You know, I don't want to keep making a big deal about it, but when you're running into that wind the way it is blowing too, might wear you down a little bit here. And so your bench might be into play as well, as you see the Fighting Engineers defense working deep in the corner. Give credit there to Kiana Martin out of Portage Central High School as that ball sails out of bounds just in front of our broadcast area, and we'll have a throw-in here now as Gibson will put it in play. And you could tell right there that ball sailed on it. It was intended for Camille Clark, but it sailed over her head. And the ball goes deep in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't anticipate the cleanest of games in terms of just passing and things like that. But I think defensively they're really doing an incredible job of pressuring the ball, as I mentioned, but also not doing too much, not going overboard. And especially with a scorer like Hanover has, that'd be really easy to do, just to lose your balance, lose your focus for a moment, and have her capitalize. So I'm really impressed so far with both sides in terms of playing some good, solid defense.
Well, you saw Dillon right there. Her kick made it all the way to midfield, and so now the Fighting Engineers back on offense. You could tell right there for Jaden Gibson that a little frustration trying to control that ball even though it was on the pitch itself. And by the way, the pitch, we were out there earlier today. It is very low cut. Of course, we're not in a growing season at this point, so the grass has some areas where there is dirt, and so the grass is not quite as thick as it might be in the early portion of the season. So it's going to be a very quick pitch here today.
Well, and that means low predictability as well, right? I mean, I think one of the things you want to see on a pitch and in the game of soccer is little predictability, where that ball is going, where you can anticipate it going. So when you have kind of that issue along with the wind, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to anticipate where the ball's bouncing, where you need to be in relation to the ball as well.
By the way, that ball went out of bounds. Beth Cook out of Goshen, Ohio, deep in the corner, and now she repositioned herself not only once but twice, and she'll receive the ball off of the throw-in near side, but again defended well. The ball returned for Hanover, Aaron Terry out of Brebeuf High School, and they have an excellent soccer program at Brebeuf. You know, it's fun watching the two coaches and different styles here. James Watts, he's sitting just below us to our left and stays very calm. I am familiar with him. He used to be the head coach at Earlham College, really turned that program around before coming here to Hanover. And now has a chance to take them again to the NCAA tournament. And then, of course, on the other side, their coach very calm as well, as Amy Hellawell is letting her team do what they generally do, and that's they've got a lot of captains out there on the field that are controlling things. So, and you got to trust your players at this point too. They played a lot of soccer, and that's what got them here.
Yeah, they've proven. If you don't trust them by now, there's larger issues at play. But I think they know that they have the ability to close out some games like this and play well and not make as few mistakes as you possibly can.
Ball back to midfield, and you can see where Rose-Hulman right now, they will shift side to side. They'll keep the two players right out near midfield, and they're going to force the action. As you see a crossing ball, but nobody there to receive it, and on the return, it'll be back once again to Hanover. And so far, neither team able to put any shots on goal. We're at 29-10 to go here in this first half of play. That one deflected out of bounds here in the near side. Is Camille Clark able to get a foot on that one out of Plainfield? She's a first-year player. And once again, transition off the turnover, and this will be a 50-50 ball. Who will come up with this one? One of those there was Beth Cook. And we've got a whistle, and that'll go against Hanover. I think you got Cook on that one.
Yeah, just got a little overly aggressive, probably a good foul. Just trying to make a play, which I'm sure, like as you mentioned, frustration has got to be something you have to manage in a game like this, right? Two really defensive-minded teams, two teams that are very pesky. They pressure the ball a lot. I would imagine that at some point you got to kind of take a breath, realize that opportunities are going to come, and you just got to take advantage of them.
Boy, that ball really sailed from midfield. That was an excellent ball put in play by Grace Hobson. You know, we didn't talk yet about Hanover other than Beth Cook. You've got a lot of other players out there. Nora Ludwig, 9 goals, 5 assists. We mentioned Kenna Patterson at 5 and 4. This is a team that averages 3.4 goals per game, so they know how to score. We talked about the defensive side, but even from a shooting standpoint, their shots on goal percentage, to give you kind of an idea in the comparisons, you have Rose-Hulman at 541, but this Hanover team is at 650. So when they get an opportunity to get a shot on goal, they generally will capitalize. As we have another goalie kick here. And look at all the players that are really bunched up because they know this ball's not going to go very far. And off the turnover, Fighting Engineers back on offense outside the box. Will they work it to the right side? They will. And now can you get a good centering pass right here, and that's going to go behind the goal. I think she was really trying to get that ball to center in the box, but unfortunately couldn't control it, and they're going to have to learn how to adjust as we go. By the way, that was number 18, Sarah Shoemaker. She's out of Chesterfield, Missouri.
Yeah, you've got to really put a good strike into the ball if you're going to cross it in. Just too much wind to really battle against in order to make something happen. But I mean, maybe you get more creative in set pieces when you're, if you have a corner, if you have these opportunities, you just got to be a little more creative with how you attack and how you approach this ball.
Yeah, Sabrina Henderson will watch that one sail over her head. She tried on that last goal kick to send it to the near side, and the ball just gusted out of play. So she's having a difficult time. And you can tell with Rose-Hulman, they're playing everybody midfield and up. So there's a lot of red jerseys. She's got to find some way to get it in play from there, but everybody's covered right now.
Well, it's almost, I made this kind of analogy earlier. It's almost like one of those drives on a tee box on the golf course on a windy day. You got to just keep it low and try to keep it out of the wind. Not always an easy thing to do, but definitely got to keep it a little lower.
Kenna Patterson unable to control it here on the near side as once again the Fighting Engineers back on offense. We have a whistle, and that foul will go against Rose-Hulman. I think they've whistled against Jaden Gibson. And every once in a while you'll hear that wind on our crowd mic that is gusting, and you can tell when you get a really big gust of wind. But the good news, at least at this stage, no rain. And if we can hold off on that, we'll probably just go ahead and take the win for the rest of the day, whether you like it or not. But I'm sure the players would like to avoid the wind as well. So the fans have shown up here today for this championship matchup. In fact, it's a very busy day here at Hanover College. They have a football game just across the way. Fans attending that as well. They'll kick that thing off in about 35 minutes. We'll have that game also on IndianaSRN as the HCAC football game of the week. Right now, Rose-Hulman back on offense as they work it down the left sideline, but Hanover defensively able to disrupt the flow there.
Both these teams doing a really good job of getting in passing lanes, as that was a great opportunity right there. And it may come down to that. It may come down to just a fortuitous bounce at some time. But, again, it's being in the right position to take advantage of those lucky bounces.
We will have our first corner of the afternoon. Now, this will be interesting to see how this is going to be placed. That is Shoemaker to put the ball in play, and that will be deflected out beyond the box to the near side. So the first corner for either team this afternoon unsuccessful, and Hanover goes back on the attack, but boy, there again, all kinds of red jerseys there defensively. Ojura able to put it in play near to midfield, but unfortunately nothing there either way as we go back and forth. We'll stay in the attacking third, but then dump behind here for Hanover.
You know, the first touches are really important in games like this. You saw it right there, a couple of bad touches, a turnover, and all of a sudden you're on the opposite end trying to transition to defense. So that first touch, vital in this game today.
Yeah, they tried, speaking of Rose, to transition that time, but Hanover able to stop the attack. A little give and go near side, and wisely putting that one out of play is Marquardt, and we'll have a throw in on the near sideline. Down to 23:10 to go here in the first half. And so far, again, the offensive numbers have been slim here today. We are not going to see a whole lot of offense by either team. And we will have our second corner. Unable to bring that because the corner is so deep down to our right, but you'll see the ball come into play. Again, the wind blowing from right to left. A good ball. It sails high, and then the header just wide to the left. Nice effort by Hanover's Beth Cook. Nearly made this 1-0. That would have been huge here in the first half to get that goal on the board.
Yeah, that was a great spot on the corner kick. You know, Cook had a good look at it as they were kind of attacking that far post. but just couldn't quite get it done. But a good opportunity, that's always good. I mean, you may not score, but mentally it's good to see an opportunity come to pass.
Now, I know that for you at home, did you see how far that ball rolled? We were watching warm-ups, and the wind, the way it is blowing, is we'll have a change here for Rose-Hulman as Stacia Brooks will come in out of San Jose, California. The ball, when it rolls, because of the way the turf is and the wind is blowing, it could go for 50, 60 yards. And we saw that right there as no one could catch up to it.
Well, and you know what's fascinating, just to give you an indication of how strong this wind is, we're kind of in a bowl in this soccer field, but if you go up top on the bowl, it is strong.
Yes.
Strong. Blow your hair all the way back strong. You get down here, it's a little better, but still definitely going to make an impact on play today.
Throw in here Mark Court. You're assuming for all the people that have hair,
right?
The ones who don't have to worry about it too much. But there's another ball that will pass the end line. There's only two people here without hair, and
it's good to be young. That's all I have to say.
They're the two good-looking ones over here. So, yeah, we'll have another goal kick as you again saw that ball go out of play. Anybody that's going to be chasing the ball toward the end line might as well just let it go because you don't have much of a chance to get to it if it has any spin on it that will take it on a roll. Again, another throw-in here on the near side. Most of the throw-ins handled so far by Gibson. That ball in the box and goes a little bit wide. And that was another excellent opportunity for Rose-Hulman this time. Unfortunately, they were unable to run it down. That was the closest they've come with Sarah Shoemaker on that right side of the box.
But it goes back to that first touch, right? It was a great feed into the box, but you got to be able to control it, bring it down, and then make a play. Once you kind of lose that first touch, the whole scene changes, the whole story changes, and you've got to kind of adapt and figure that out.
Gibson, nice defense here in the near side for the number 2 seeded Fighting Engineers of Rose-Hulman. You know, you don't have, at least from a standpoint of all the games they played this year, 6 draws. Kind of shows you the tough schedule they've had this year. Hanover had 3 draws on the year. And as it played out, the top 2 seeds, the 2 best defensive teams, are here today. As we're in the attacking third, and here is Cook, and that ball ricochets out of bounds on the near side. We'll have a throw-in now, and a change here for Hanover.
Entering the contest for the Panthers,
as
number 3, Kennedy Rorig.
Kennedy Rorig will come in. She is a junior out of LaGrange, Kentucky. So both teams have gone to their bench here in the first half. Ball played deep in the corner. It eventually goes out of play, and Hanover will put it in play. Nope, they're going to say it was last touched by the Panthers. So a throw-in in the corner now for Rose-Hulman. And a header will knock that one out of play. Nice defensive effort there by Kenna Patterson. That'll give the Panthers a chance to reset defensively. This throw-in comes out of bounds again right in front of the Rose-Hulman bench.
You know, I got to give them a lot of credit. They're not really letting anybody have any easy touches, right? I mean, the minute that ball is on them, they do a good job of swarming and making it not so easy to control that ball.
Camille Clark took that one, I believe, off the chin at that point. That was a hard ball to have to get away from as the turnover will happen again. You can hear every once in a while Coach Watts. We mentioned he's just down to our left, and you can hear him talking to his team. As coming into the lineup will be Alicia Rodriguez, the sophomore out of Westminster, California. And that will give Sarah Shoemaker an opportunity to receive here on the near side. And a steal away just momentarily. Good defensive effort there for Hanover as the ball stays in play and the Panthers work it down the right sideline. Need a good ball here, and they got one in the box. Opportunity now for the Panthers, and there is Beth Cook, and a save. Cook got a leg on it. It was a good ball, but a nice save. Once again there by Natalie Dillon, who comes in with 55 saves on the year.
Definitely a tense moment. A really good job to recover there by Cook. because it didn't quite get the handle on the ball that I think she would have wanted, but did a nice job recovering and putting a shot on goal.
Again, that foot race to try to get that ball at the end line ends up going out of play. 17:08 to go here in the first half. So now how will Hanover attack this? They've come to this near side every time. They feel comfortable making the attack start from here. And can they keep the ball in play? They will. Nice job on the sideline by Patterson. The ball will go out of play, last touched by Rose-Hulman. So we will have a throw in here for the Panthers, and they'll bring him back. Every once in a while you try to maybe scoot that ball up 3 or 4 feet, and they'll bring you back every time.
Well, and also you just try to up the pace a little bit, right? You try to catch the opposition off guard a little bit, but it doesn't always work.
So now a sprint for the loose ball here on the near side as both players jockey for position. That was Patterson, the first-year player, going down. She played her high school soccer at Cornerstone Academy down in Bloomington. Panthers will have it again here on the near sideline as they work it back and forth, and they'll reset it to midfield. You can see the curve of the ball there again as Hanover working into the wind, and it's been difficult for them to get the ball into scoring position. I think they're trying to be very patient here, and if they can find an opening, you get a fast break the other way, they will. But this is a Rose-Hulman defense that has been very, very stiff here this afternoon. Ball at midfield and returned is Stacia Brooks, who just entered the lineup, playing at midfield. You can see the ball work back here to the near side as the Panthers still trying to find an opening. Good look here at Beth Cook, and they want to keep her in check. In fact, they will pretty much shadow her. Grace Hobbs was there. And again, another turnover by Rose-Hulman, who will go back again to midfield. There is Cook. And you see how they shadow her. They don't let her get very far on the dribble at all, and they are all over her, so the ball return. And once again, the Fighting Engineers on the near side try to advance it. Nothing there, and they'll wisely dump it behind as Marquardt saw no one on the near side. In fact, the closest player she had was Camille Clark, but she was too far down the pitch in order to get it to her safely as both teams go back and forth, midfield circle near side.
So both teams' formations are kind of lend themselves to a more defensive strategy. But one thing you'll notice, Hanover not doing a great job of moving off the ball, right? So Cook having to do a lot of work herself and not finding a ton of help, you know. Yeah. So I think up that movement a little bit and maybe open up some passing lanes and try to get a little more creative.
Sammy Abston out of Lawrence Central High School. Well, there's a hard check right there, and Beth Cook felt that one, so that'll go against Rose-Hulman. And I would imagine, too, in a lot of ways, if you want to make sure that Beth Cook doesn't hurt you, be a little more physical here today and try to take her off her game. So we have a kick here from the point of the foul.
You know, Cook's a really good athlete, got some great speed. You don't allow a ton of separation, and you know, you don't want her to kill you with her athleticism. So you up the physicality, get in her jersey a little bit, and don't let her get so much space.
You know, that wasn't a bad ball that time, but there was nobody there. I think maybe it was kicked a little bit harder than it needed to be.
You know, Coach Watts for Hanover, a couple times you've heard him probably over the crowd mic just say, what are we doing? They seem a little out of step. Maybe it's just feeling out the opponent, feeling out the conditions, but he said a couple times, I'm not sure what we're doing. Why aren't we executing like we're at the level we're accustomed to? So interesting to see how that'll play out, if they can refine the play a little bit.
Yeah, he is a very, very good coach, recruits extremely well, and we mentioned earlier his time at Earlham College here in the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference, and now a chance to perhaps win a tournament championship here today, and Hanover able to get to that one near the end line.
That's tough though, because it's a corner now.
Yep.
You wanted to get that out on the sideline, but good opportunity for Rose here.
Katie Choi will come in now for Rose-Hulman. They have actually, speaking of the fine engineers, gone very deep onto their bench, and we're coming up on 12 minutes remaining, and this will give a break now to Camille Clark. I mentioned you're going to be a little bit winded today, running into the wind, whatever the case may be. So the second corner we have seen for Rose-Hulman, they're able to deliver it to the box, but nothing there, but they control it again. Here's a good ball, and then picked in midair by Henderson.
You know, sometimes as a keeper, you got to be a little aggressive. You don't sit back and let it come to you, especially when you're not too sure where that ball is going with the conditions. And a really good counterattack right here. That fell short.
Yeah, unfortunately, again, with the way that Rose is playing at midfield, it has been very difficult for the Panthers to get into scoring position. But we thought coming in, again, this could be a perfect day for soccer. As the keeper coming way out to challenge, Dylan really got out of position and fortunately was able to make it back. But we thought coming in that if you look at the history of these two teams, the winning team has only scored 3 goals.
Right.
The highest of any time that they've won. So it isn't like these two teams don't know each other well enough that defensively they're just not going to get much on offense. Lauren Rainbolt will come in. Rainbolt is a first-year player out of Carmel. Mention a very busy day in the HCAC championships. All of those games right here on IndianaSRN and HCAC TV. You have the championship games in volleyball going on in Transylvania. The 2 o'clock game, Transylvania and Rose-Hulman. At 5 o'clock, it's Earlham and Mount St. Joseph, and then the championship game will be on Sunday at 1 o'clock. Make sure you tune into all those games again on HCAC TV and IndianaSRN. Nice ball right in front of the goalie box and then quickly delivered back outside. You have to be impressed so far with the way that Rose-Hulman is defending. Nice defensive play, but also how about Spalding there for Hanover, able to get the takeaway. Back to midfield, a attempted header by Hicks. And we're just going to go back and forth. Clock down to 9:37. Now, I know we're a long way away from getting into perhaps overtime discussions at this stage, but let's bring it up just for fun.
Sure, why not?
What happens in the overtime if we end up there?
So they'll play 2 periods, I believe 10 minutes each, and they'll play them out regardless of score. So there's no golden goal anymore. And then if it's still tied after those 2 periods, then they will go into penalty kicks, which would be thrilling. I know some people aren't a big fan of that. They feel like they should continue to play until, a real winner's, a quote-unquote real winner's determined. But
right.
Should be exciting if we get to that point.
Yeah, we have a long ways to go. I think the one thing you said earlier, which I really could come to fruition here, is you get a blast of wind or you don't, and you accidentally see a ball go in just because you're either out of position or you think the ball went one way and it goes another. It may very well come down to one of those type goals here today as the ball comes out of bounds on the near side.
Well, and I think that's one big reason why it's kind of taken like a feeling out approach, it feels like, because you try to play a little more conservative when you're not too sure about the bounce of the ball, the conditions. So I think that's why you see both teams kind of feeling each other out. But they've had a couple opportunities, right? We've seen a couple corners. We've seen a couple of good crosses into the box. But, again, it comes back to being clean on that first touch and being able to take advantage of those opportunities.
That ball went out of bounds deep in the corner, so we had a throw in there for Rose-Hulman. They'll be back on the attack as they'll work it to the pitch on the right side. Ball centered, and it's going to be cleared. Good defense there for the Panthers once again. You can't say enough about the way the two teams have defended here today despite what has happened on offense. And by the way, we're going to see Hanover make 3 changes in their lineup as that ball goes out of play. And looks like we may have a corner, and we will on the opposite side. Now for Rose-Hulman, this is, I believe, their third corner. Now this is a little bit different too. You're kicking from the right side where the wind will now curve it a little bit different than what you saw from the other side. Now it's still going to curve the same way, but the way that you strike it is going to be a little bit different. See the wave coming from the right side, the ball high in the air, and it's ricocheted out front.
That was a really good punch out that time by the keeper, Henderson. She did a really nice job of being aggressive, going after the ball, high pointing it, and just clearing it out and getting it out away from danger.
Ball deep in the corner, kept in play, and so now the Panthers back on the attack once again. Clock down to 6:32. And this will go again to the Panthers. By the way, the men's score, Hanover leading that one 1-0 in the first. So we'll keep an eye on that game here this afternoon. That's taking place over in Terre Haute. So the good news is there, the rain has not affected that one. No rain at all. So that's good news. So maybe we won't get any. Maybe we'll get lucky.
Oh, there you go. That's a way to jinx it. Come on.
Well, I've already tried the overtime route.
I was going to say, you've been doing this long enough. You should know. You never bring it up.
Yeah, well, it's like the free throw, you know.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't missed a free throw all day. He shot 800 of them. Then the second I bring it up, he misses. By the way, Panthers have yet to be able to get their 3 subs in. I know we mentioned both teams going to their bench early in this one and then trying to keep everybody fresh. And well, we can see that from here. That ball just hung up in the air, and the 50-50 ball eventually won by Rose-Hulman. But we're going back the other way. There's Beth Cook. Cook trying to find an advantage. Can she get an angle as she brings it into the box? Still in possession. And this will be hit wide to the right. Not a good strike there, as Roerig had an opportunity, but that would have been a long shot right there as you see the 3 subs entering the lineup.
Yeah, I'm not completely sure if that's what she was hoping to do. Because you had them kind of back on their heels. You had Rose on their heels. You got to kind of take advantage of that and be a little more controlled.
Well, now you're at the situation. You're just over 4.5 minutes to go in the first half. The one thing you don't want to do is give up a cheap goal here heading into the locker room, because, again, conditions are going to stay the same, but the two teams will change, and then you've got to change your game as well in accordance to what will happen in the second half. Hanover battling here on the near sideline as the two players jockey for position. Eventually goes out of play. Panthers give it up. Ludwig was there, the sophomore out of Cincinnati. But then the possession did not last very long for Rose-Hulman. Once you get it past midfield, there's your defense coming back again. But now the Panthers will work it to the far side. We mentioned a little bit ago, Beth Cook is now out of the lineup, the leading scorer for Hanover, so they're going to give her a break here at the end of the first half. And we're down to 3:43. See how the Panthers will attack here. Will they work it back to midfield? Looked for the give and go here on the near side, but there was some miscommunication. Rainbolt started to cut back toward the top, and then the ball went to the box area, and unfortunately another turnover.
Rose does such a nice job of really packing it in when they feel that threat. They really condense that formation and get in the way. And a lot of times that's better than anything. You just frustrate them, and then things don't go as planned. But I'm really, really stunned at how well they pack that in and back up and face those threats.
Well, there was another instance where that was a pretty good goal kick by Natalie Dillon. She was looking to the near side, and unfortunately, by the time it sailed by two players here on this side of the pitch, it just sailed out of bounds, and will give the ball back to the Panthers, and they'll go back on the attack once again. We mentioned the winner will get the automatic bid to the Division III NCAA Women's Tournament, and I'm sure that whichever school ends up winning, there'll be plenty of information on how you can get tickets or watch once they get there and where they will go. As we're back into the attacking third once again. Hanover being very patient here as we are beginning to close out this first half. That centering ball knocked down and returned once again to midfield. Here's where, again, if you outkick your coverage, you don't have enough players there at midfield. Hanover had their defensemen there ready to go. And unfortunately, we're unable to advance it past midfield, but after the whistle stops play, it'll be back once again in to the possession of Rose.
It's interesting, too, not only, Rose is packing it in, but both teams seem to spread it kind of wide, and I'm curious as to if they make a subtle change at that, maybe bring it in a little bit, stop spreading it out so wide, and maybe just try to control the ball a little bit more.
Well, Rose trying to get something here at the end. Unfortunately, got no attack. Hanover looking the other way. They're going to have to work quick. We're down under 90 seconds remaining, and that'll go out of play. Rose-Hulman defensively able to knock it out, so we'll have a throw in. And so now the Panthers deep in the corner. They tried to center it there, but nothing available as Rainbolt had it deep in the corner. But there were 3 red jerseys there. Whether she went to the end line or even reversed it, try to bring it back out, there was no room to work it. Rainbolt again on the end line.
Grace Hobson did a really nice job on that sliding tackle, the center back. It looked like Hanover had some open space, but she was really aggressive, slid in there, made a clean tackle just to break up the play, force them to take it out of bounds and get to reset a little bit.
We have a corner now for Hanover, 35 seconds. A good ball right in front of the goal. That bicycle kick attempt there just goes wide. And so one maybe possession here, but it'd take a lot to get it down the pitch here. They may just sit on it and go into halftime scoreless here in the first half.
10.
So we take a look at Dillon. The one thing Dillon wants to do is get distance on this, not give up anything here late. And you heard the countdown right there, and that's going to do it for the first half. So right at this stage, both teams will sit down, talk about it, try to find a strategy to get themselves in scoring position. Once we get some first half statistics, we'll pass those along. We don't want to mention again that Hanover leading Rose-Hulman 1-0 in the men's game, so Hanover trying for a double dip today, both teams advancing to the NCAA tournament. But again, you look at the stats, Adam, and we talked about all the offensive numbers, the defensive numbers, but it just, the conditions, no matter, we could say, well, they played in it before, but you're going to have to adjust now going the other way, and it's been very tough.
It feels a little disjointed at this point, a little sloppy at times. Those initial touches aren't going so well. Passes are being intercepted, and part of that's credit to the defense, but I think a big part of it as well is that just the conditions are really tough.
Yeah.
You can't anticipate where the ball's going. Playing clean is going to be difficult. I would anticipate in the second half, the team that plays a little bit cleaner, less mistakes, they can refine some of that, is probably going to come out on top. But like we mentioned, who knows? I mean, the ball bounces one way. You never know what can happen in games like this.
I got one last question, though, before we take a break. The adjustments you're going to have to make, I mean, you're going to have to make them pretty quick at some point. I mean, you don't want this thing to get down to the last couple of minutes, and then we get into the overtimes, and then all of a sudden you play that penalty kick stuff.
Because then also fatigue sets in. Then that's when you tend to make even more mistakes. You can't really focus, things like that. You're right. I think it would be advantageous to really instill those, switch it up, do a little something different. Who knows? Just anything that can help you get to the goal and put a goal on the board.
And that's the key. You got to get some shots on goal at some point. Because I think the name of the game is to get one more goal than the other one, but you got to get some shots as well. Halftime score here at Hanover, the women's championship. We're scoreless. We'll come back, a halftime report, second half action. We'll have stats as well. All the action right here on IndianaSRN and HCAC TV.
Today, greed, selfish interest, and barefaced corruption seem all the fashion. America needs great men of tolerance, who can give honest debate to the great issues of the day. I'm seeing mostly squabbling, men squandering their time, being wolves to one another. Yet, I'm not without hope. We still have Freemasonry. Yes, the same Freemasons that helped create this country have always provided great men when needed. And today, in every city and town in America, Freemasonry is still providing that special place where young men can find their greatness and accomplished men can give something back. Yes, in this time of great hope, it is my hope that America will see that Freemasonry is a national treasure that cannot be separated from our country's future.
Piper Group Warehouse has a strong commitment to their clients as their logistics provider. If you would like to discover how you can improve your service levels while lowering your overall cost, Piper Logistics Group can help. Call Greg Piper today at 317-396-3916. Piper Logistics Group.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I'd like to order a hamburger, fries, salt, maybe a large vanilla shake. Yeah.
This is a trophy shop, can't you tell?
You got a counter right here. Isn't this where you place the orders?
We sell trophies, we sell plaques, we do embroidery. No food.
You got carry out?
Unlike the internet, everything that you need we have here at the shop. Very unique. You order today, carry out tonight. That's our version of carry out.
All right, I'll take one of everything.
Well, that may take a little longer. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
You know, Jim, I'll be back tomorrow to pick it all up.
We'll wait for you.
Don't wait long.
I'm Keith Myers, Vice President of IndianaSRN. Thanks for joining us. Do you know IndianaSRN broadcasts 350 games a year? All sorts of sports? Yeah, we do. Hard to believe, isn't it? IndianaSRN loves to put student athletes first on our website. If you're a business out there, we probably could help you too. Contact us at coach@indianasrn.org. Grandma from out of state thanks you. Mom and Dad who can't get to the game thanks you as well. In fact, our athletes watch the games over and over again. Our military has enjoyed the games as well. So sit back and enjoy the game. It's IndianaSRN.
Bertner Electric Incorporated has been proudly serving our residential and commercial customers with quality electrical repair for over 33 years. We are fully licensed and insured in electrical wiring and electrician service packages. You'll receive a competitive assessment, whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, first-time or long-time customer. We offer free estimates for any new project. Call our licensed and experienced electricians today.
There's no greater anti-poverty measure than to give a person a job. That helps them start to change that trajectory.
Morales Group is a full-service staffing company that provides temporary labor in the Indianapolis, Central Indiana market.
It was a challenge that was given by my father. He wanted me to give back much more than I had been. Then I realized that when he said more, he wanted me to see how I could give more. And it wasn't just in money, but in time and in services. And that's how the Morales Group was created.
I started off at Morales Group as an intern. I interned for 3 years before going on full-time staff here. What I love most about Morales Group is that big family aspect. I come from a big family in Mexico, and since the company is continuously growing, I feel like there's always a new member of the family that I get to know.
We're willing to give. We're willing to serve others, and we're not expecting something in return.
Come talk to us. We would love to work with you.
Hi, I'm Matt Wolford, president of the IHSAA Foundation, and we need your help. We need your help so the youth of our community can develop advanced leadership skills. We need your help giving high school administrators and coaches the instruction and insight they need to be better role models and teachers. To learn more or to make a tax-deductible contribution, go to ihsaafoundation.org. You'll not only be contributing to the foundation of the IHSAA, you'll be contributing to the foundation of our community.
You want a sports degree that is beyond the game? A degree that immerses you from day one and launches you into the business side of sports. With a sports management major from IUPUI's School of Health and Human Sciences, you'll have insider access to sports professionals and will learn from faculty with years of teaching and industry experience. There isn't a better city than Indianapolis to get the experience you need to launch your sport industry career.
You know, when Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage. Logan Street Signs and Banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Back once again here at Hanover College as we are at halftime. If you just joined us, we've had very few shots on goal here today, and in fact, they better hold on to that ball right there, Adam, because it might blow away, the game ball right below us. And right now, here's what we have. We have no goals, of course, as we said.
Good call.
You have, I know it's very observant of me.
Right.
Thanks, Colombo. Hanover has 2 shots. 1 shot on goal, 2 corners. For Rose-Hulman, they have 1 shot on goal, and 3 corners. That has been it. 5 fouls today for Rose-Hulman, 2 fouls on Hanover, and that's just been it. I mean, you can't make stuff up at this stage, just no offense.
Yeah, I mean, both teams are doing a really good job of, as we've talked about the whole first half, doing a good job swarming the ball. The player with the ball and not allowing them to have open lines to run to pass to. They've been pesky on both sides, and you know, it sounds crazy, but we've expected this the whole time. That's kind of what our anticipation was, that this game was going to be like. And they've done a really great job of just not allowing any easy plays, easy passes, easy shots on goal. So maybe something changes with the shifting of ends in this half, and maybe someone gets a lucky bounce. But this one does not look like a bunch of goals are going to come anytime soon. So it should be interesting.
And we'll talk about that switching of halves and how you're going to adjust to that as we continue the women's championship right here on IndianaSRN.
At Morales Group Staffing, we are all about building better futures. And during these times, we are working hard to put people to work. We are now hiring for hundreds of jobs with pay up to $17 an hour. Visit our website at moralesgroup.net or text JOBS, JOBS, to 317-472-7600 to apply now and get hired today.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
My name is Brittany. A little thing I love about the Egg White Grill is the toasty English muffin. It's toasted perfectly. It's just a little crispy, but not like hard crispy, but just crispy enough that when you bite into it, everything is perfect.
My name is Curtis, and I love the Egg White Grill because the egg itself, it's like soft and fluffy, like a pillow. I wouldn't eat my pillow, but I'd eat the Chick-fil-A breakfast egg white sandwich for sure.
They say nice guys don't finish first. So maybe it's time to reconsider what it means to be first.
It's about being your best, but knowing you could be even better.
It's being present, but respectful of history.
You sure you want to make that move?
It's donating something more valuable than money.
It's believing in yourself and something bigger.
It's coming from different families, but treating each other like brothers.
It's not just being a man, it's being a Mason.
Welcome back to Hanover College as both teams preparing now for the second half, and we're going to switch sides. And you say, well, what's the big deal? Sides are even on each side, but the wind's still blowing. In fact, we think it might be blowing a little bit harder right now. You don't have to worry about any leaves being on the pitch here pretty soon.
True.
They're all going to be over there in the woods, but it does now change the game plan. Mm-hmm. Do I feel better if I'm Hanover, knowing the wind's behind me now, or do I feel better if I'm Rose-Hulman with the wind now coming at me? I don't know if we know what the strategy will be here, but somebody's going to have an edge.
Well, I mean, Hanover made and maybe this goes to Coach Watts' strategy of just ignoring the wind, but they picked that side in the initial. They picked that north side of the pitch to start the game. And, you know, with Beth Cook's speed, I would anticipate this is probably going to work in Hanover's favor.
Yeah.
Just because she's such a good athlete and has shown that she can make space and create space. I would imagine that wind aided, it could actually help her open up a few lines, but Rose-Hulman's done such a good job of really just packing it in. That back line has not bitten on anything.
Yep.
They have been really disciplined in their positioning. So obviously, this is going to sound like a cop-out answer, but truly, it's a toss-up. You just don't know. I think the one smart thing that Coach Watts did just before the half, he did give Beth Cook the opportunity to come out of the game, get a rest, get her legs back under, because she put in a lot of work in that first half that just went nowhere. And I'm sure it has to be frustrating to continuously come so close, see opportunities, see the ball get close, but just not have anything to show for it. As she was coming off the pitch, he kind of stopped her and had a chat with her about just what the approach was in the second half, what the expectation was. So curious to see how this plays out, but both teams look really fresh. They don't look discouraged, and they look ready to go.
Well, you know, we talk about the offensive side of things, but we also need to now talk about the keepers because their conditions change as well. Their approach to how they're going to come out of the box. Will they attack a little bit more? Are they going to stay back? They've got to adjust to the wind as well, so we'll keep an eye on that here in the second half. So it will be Rose now on the left attacking right, and then Hanover right to left as the ball will sail out of bounds here in the near side. And we will have a throw-in again for Hanover. You hear that wind again, and it just will continue to be a real problem for the rest of the day. We can't anticipate that it's going to stop. In fact, the forecast calls it to just continue through even tonight. I can imagine how tough it is not only for the players here, but then if you're playing football or anything else, that wind is going to be really, really difficult on everybody involved. So Hanover will work far side. We're going to keep an eye again on Beth Cook. Can they get her open? And she's working middle of the field a lot, as you would expect your leading scorer to do. That way she can adjust what she needs to do once that Hanover gets into the offensive side of things. But we're kind of waiting to see what Rose-Hulman will do on their attack. And how they're going to adjust here as they are able to kick it behind and then work from there to the middle of the field. But the one thing you can't do is turn the ball over a lot at this stage. If you can play more control soccer right here, maybe you'll have more of an opportunity to get some shots on goal.
Well, the one thing we haven't really, talked about or thought about that much is the fact that Rose has had several players score this year. You've got 8 from Kyra Hicks, you've got 8 from Lauren Marquardt. They've got a lot of different weapons that they can turn to in games like this. Not to say that Hanover does not, but when you rely so heavily on someone like Beth Cook with 20 goals this year, leading the HCAC, it's a little easier to defend if you're the opposition, right? You can just try and limit her touches, limit her ability to hurt you, and just play the rest of the game and just hope that no one else hurts you. So it's like when they used to guard Kobe like that. Let him score and just make sure Smush Parker doesn't
Once
hurt
you bring up a good player like Larry Bird or something
Kobe's
like that.
pretty good.
Yeah, okay. Deep in the corner, Hanover, there is, as we mentioned, Beth Cook trying to find an opening. Ball throw in intended there for Cook once again. See, now Hanover wants to keep this ball in the attacking third. If they can, I think they have a great opportunity. I think they would rather have that win behind them, knowing that they can get a decent ball on one of these attempts, get themselves in position and keep that possession as much as they can and put the pressure on Rose-Hulman as that ball at the top of the box. Tried to clear a dangerous pass as Hanover able to keep it, and then the ball squirts through. Will it make it to the sideline? It will not. Good effort for Hanover to run that one down. Cassidy Lett is there, but then the ball eventually goes out of play.
At some point, you got to make the concerted effort to be a little more aggressive. If you're either team, to be quite frank, I mean, you can't just sit back and just, let this kind of go. You gotta be the aggressor at some point. You saw it right there. They had 4 players kind of stacked in the box, really close to one another, but didn't give the player with the ball enough options to figure out who to go to. And maybe they were anticipating a cross in there. But at some point, you got to open up those passing lanes, be a little more movement, and a little more aggressive.
Well, you see the ball near side is Rose-Hulman working into that wind, and they have had very little success, though we're very early in 4 minutes in. This is the first ball they've had that got close to the attacking third, but there's Hanover able to return it, and they're a little more physical right there on the play, as Alicia Rodriguez getting the start here in the second half. And now the Fighting Engineers trying to work it again. Unfortunately can't do it. Now an opportunity here for Rose-Hulman. They'll work it down the right sideline. They cannot keep it in play. That could have been a good opportunity for Katie Choi down the line. Unfortunately couldn't get to it. So again, the Panthers will put it in play. Who's going to get on the board first and then really put the pressure on the opposing team? Nice defensive effort again for Rose-Hulman.
That's a great through ball, just a hair off target, but it looked like that Beth Cook had the advantage there. Just didn't quite put that ball on target.
We mentioned the men's game earlier, Rose and Hanover playing for the championship there. Rose and Hanover over in Terre Haute. Hanover leading at 1-0. If we get an update on that score, we'll pass that along as well. That is one of the other games on our family networks here this afternoon, including the HCAC football game of the week. As the ball again out of bounds, Hanover has a throw-in. Panthers back on the offensive attack. Can they get it back to the middle? Here is a nice ball, but right in front of it. Pick that one in midair. As you look at Natalie Dillon again there for Rose-Hulman. And now her game changes a little bit, and we saw her get some distance on her kicks in the first half. This one just went right straight down onto the turf, and she was unable to get any distance on that one. So as we saw in the first half, Hanover able to play everybody midfield up and perhaps get an opportunity to get back on offense once again. And once again, there is Dillon off that ball deep in the corner. I'm not sure how you're going to play your angle here, whether you have a corner. We talked about that a little bit in the first half as we have a 50-50 ball at midfield, but I think it's difficult to try to find the right angle, too, if you're thinking about that wind behind you. Will this ball get through, and this will be knocked out of play, and this will give Rose a chance to set things up. But I'm thinking
you got to be a little more possession-oriented, too. I think if you put the ball in the air, you're allowing Rose, I mean, you're essentially making it a 50-50 ball. And I think if you keep it on the ground, make sure you have those tight triangles where you have passing lanes and have the ability to make plays.
Boy,
Looks
good
like
effort
offsides.
there. That was Beth Cook. But I think they may have got him on offsides on that one. Cook had a right foot into it, but it wasn't enough really to challenge Dillon.
That's 3 opportunities already for Hanover in this second half. I don't know if you've noticed that, but they're really trying to put it to Rose-Hulman and be a little more aggressive.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of it has to do, you've got that wind behind you. You can feel that you can get to the balls a little bit easier that hang up in the air. Where Rose is going to have to adjust a little bit more now going against the wind than they did in the first half. So who's going to adjust quicker? Nice takeaway. Panthers work it down the line, but Rose able to knock it out of play. Start of the second half now between Hanover and Rose-Hulman. Still 1-0 Panthers in that contest. Here, no scores. We're at 36-51 of the second half. Nice play at midfield. On the attack the other way. That's Hicks. Hicks, one of the leading scorers, puts a right leg into that one, and it's going to be knocked away by Henderson. That was a long shot there by Hicks, and nearly able to squeeze that one for the first goal of the game.
Put a really good leg into that. That was a good opportunity and took advantage of it. But a nice diving stop there to keep this clean 0-0.
Well, and one thing about Hicks, too, and she was able to sneak it through a couple of defenders to get into the position to get a shot.
That's the flip side of that, a more aggressive strategy as you come out in the second half, right? I mean, if you open yourself up, if you're trying to attack more, that leaves your defense a little more exposed. But did a nice job of recovering there, and that's why you have a keeper, right? I mean, that's your last line of defense. So definitely a nice play by Rose.
So the Panthers lead pass will find Cook at the midfield circle, and she is quickly surrounded. And the ball taken away, turnover by the Panthers. And Rose unable to keep possession for just a couple of seconds. There was just nothing there. Lead pass, far sideline. Can they get it into the attacking third and try to set up something? They cannot, and wisely, ball knocked out of play. So Panthers a chance here to set their defense. Double team deep in the corner as Rose trying to find some type of an opening there for Choi, but unable to get it into play as they'll go top of the box. That ball ricocheted once again, and we're going to go after this one out past midfield, and once again, and it's going to be saved from behind, and nice play for Hanover as Bettner was able to get a leg on it before that one went into the goal.
That was tense. A really good through ball, a little loft on that to give a little space. Rose had a really good look at it, but Bettner, what a play. Way to realize the situation, realize your keeper is out of position, and step in and fill in that role.
So goal kick here to put it back in play for the Panthers, and a whistle. That'll go against Hanover. So now Rose will get it back. We're down to 34-17. They just had, when we speak of Rose, an opportunity. We've seen some opportunities already by Hanover. I say the wind has maybe died down a little bit. Maybe that's a factor here as you see a free kick from the top into the box and rolls right into the awaiting arms of Sabrina Henderson. Henderson got the start today, and so far able to pitch a shutout to this point, and once that kick gets to midfield, it'll sail again.
Did a really good job there, speaking of Hanover, of marking their person and making sure that they don't lose sight of that person, right? Because those free kicks can get a little chaotic. That's where you get the opportunity to run those set pieces, and they did not bite. They didn't get off out of position. They did a really nice job of staying disciplined and marking their player and making sure they weren't given an opportunity to score.
Panthers left of the box after the throw-in. Can they get a good ball right here? There it is, and sprinting in, taking a shot is Beth Cook from the keeper. And Cook was coming straight down the pitch and unfortunately wasn't able to get to it. But again, she took a hard hit as Natalie Dillon was going to make sure Cook wasn't going to get that goal.
Yeah, that goes back to, I mean, sometimes you have to take a more aggressive line if you're the keeper, right? I mean, you can't let a scorer who's really naturally and talented, gifted and talented, like a Beth Cook, to get that much space and get that close to the goal.
Boy, really fighting for the loose ball, and again, the physicality here on the near side. Abston was working there for the Panthers, and now they'll take it to the far sideline. Ball again will sail all the way down into the corner, and it'll be in play. But not much there again for Rose-Hulman as we go back and forth. A lot of times you'll see the players just kind of kick instead of possession, and this time we'll see if Rose-Hulman can get it into possession here and make an attack out of it as they work it to the midfield circle. Clock down to 31:56 here in the second half. Near side Rodriguez looks to center that ball, and it was just off the mark as Martin unable to get to it, and then the lead pass stolen away. We will come back to the near sideline, but Rodriguez is out of play, and you could kind of tell there as that ball sailed to her left. Duffy in the lineup now for Hanover.
You know, there's something to be said, too, when you get, like, legitimate scoring opportunities, how different the feel of the game is.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of get a sense of that right now, right? So in the first half they had opportunities, but I don't know that anything really felt truly threatening.
Yeah.
Now that you've seen both teams kind of nearly get into the back of the net, feels like the pressure in some ways is almost a little off. People can these teams can play a little bit more freely.
I would venture to say, and again, coaches take it as it comes, but as a player, I don't think you want to take the chance of anything getting into an overtime at any stage, and then you really don't want to come down to penalty kicks because you know as well as anybody anything can happen, and you don't want your season to be over on penalty kicks. So you'd love to get one right here because I think it really put a lot of pressure on the team that falls behind 1-0. Hanover dumping behind, and now they'll try to work it again to the right side. They have really attacked a lot from that right side, and of course, when you think about where Beth Cook is, she'll follow and then work back to the middle. Rose-Hulman thought there should have been a foul right there. As you can hear, their bench to our right as the Panthers near sideline. So right now, when you look at Beth Cook, she's working just above the box. If they can find a way to get it down the sideline, find a centering pass, and this might be an opportunity right here, but how about that defense again for Rose-Hulman?
Interesting no call right there. A lot of, like, the physicality has really seemed to pick up here in the second half. Interesting to see the officials really let them still play.
Yeah. And we might see a little bit more of that unless it's really egregious here in the second half. That ball down the sideline, I believe they were looking to Beth Cook, but again, that wind behind them, there was no way that they were going to get to that ball. 29:04. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see a lot of things fly across this field if the wind keeps blowing the way it is. anything gets loose on our right side. And we're not over-exaggerating the wind the way it is here today. How would you like to be one of the men or women that are having to go after that ball that sails down into the woods?
It's hiking.
I understand there's some thistles down there too, I hear. So you got to be really careful getting into those woods. Back the other way we go. So far, other than the one attempt for Rose-Hulman, they've had a difficult time just getting it into an attacking position. Cassidy Lett will be coming back into the lineup here momentarily for Hanover as they're trying to find a scoring opportunity. Marquardt down the sideline against Beth Cook. It eventually goes out of play, and now that will allow the change here as Lett coming in out of Walton, Kentucky. She's a junior.
I always wonder if that's one of those moments where you kind of wish you could bring the sub back away, because it looked like Cook was ready to toss the ball in and let's get going, and had a little help. I wonder if that's one of those moments where Coach Watts is like, oh, man, I really wish I could.
Can you delay that one time, please? Here's a nice ball, and just a little bit wide, and I would have to believe, again, normal conditions, that would have been a better ball that would have centered right in front and had an opportunity with a player coming down the middle. They perhaps would have had a chance right there, but unfortunately the wind carried the ball to the right.
You got to, if you're the one leading that attack, you have to make the conscious effort to move your target a little bit, make it out. You know that wind is blowing at your back. Give your teammates a chance to make a play on the ball.
So top of the box, Hanover unable to get their offense in position there as another takeaway for Rose-Hulman. But again, they can't advance the ball. And we talked about this in the first half. Rose-Hulman played everybody midfield up. We're seeing Hanover do the same thing here in the second half. Keep an eye again on 33 Cook. She's in the middle of the box right now, and that ball will go past the end line. We'll have a corner here for Hanover. So this could be really big for the Panthers.
Still some pretty good defense from Rose right there. Hanover threatening. They just did a nice job to give themselves a chance to reset. And notice they're going to pack that goal line right now with defenders.
Yeah, and no wave up front. Looks like everything might come from the right side, but Cook is the one to watch, and a bevy of bodies right in front of the box. Header will put it out of play, and so another corner unsuccessful.
Really good opportunity. They did a nice job. They ran that set piece, and it looked like they had a decent look at it, but just couldn't get it on target. Those headers tough to control, especially in these conditions.
Well, much like what we saw in the first half, Dillon placing that ball to her right, our left, but we'll work this one down the middle. We saw Hanover usually come to the near sideline as a continual battle for the loose ball hangs in the air at midfield, and who's going to come up with this one? Hanover able to regain, and now they're back on the attack the other way. Clock down to 25-12. Hicks with it. Hicks able to bring it midfield. She's going to control it herself, puts her right leg into it, high in the air and just over the goal. I tell you what, Henderson, not very tall, but she had to really stretch in order. If she was going to get to that one, that was going to be tough.
You know, we mentioned creativity in the first half. That's actually not a bad idea, right? Put a little loft on it, especially if the goalkeeper is taking more of an aggressive line to defend you. Maybe put a little loft on it, get it up over their head, at least see if you can get them out of position, and maybe you can, finagle a rebound and make something happen that way.
So Hanover, after the kick, now attempting to go back on offense, and they will. Once they get it across midfield, there's a good look at Cook. Cook again held scoreless so far here today, had 20 goals during the season up through the tournament. Hear that wind continuing to wreak havoc here this afternoon. This one will hang up as well, and Panthers able to make the return to midfield. Or the question is, can you even get into position which the one thing about it is you got to play a little more possession soccer right here instead of just kick and go. You got to find a teammate, and that ball's going to roll all the way into the corner, but unable to clear it. Panthers, once again, centering pass. This one, a right leg just to the right, and we'll have another change for Rose-Hulman, but not a bad look. It would have been a long one. And now coming into the lineup, this will be Lawrence coming in. She's a senior out of Ringgold, Georgia.
And comes for Rose-Hulman, number 7, Lane Lawrence.
You know, Kaylin Johnson did a really nice job of putting a leg into that. I like to see the aggressive nature that Hanover's come out with in the second half. I think at some point you can't just sit back. You've got to really push things and try to dictate the pace, dictate, possession, and give yourselves, you got to create the opportunities if they're not going to be there. You have to make them yourself.
Well, we're down to 22-52 here in the second half as that ball will go out of play. Rose-Hulman will have a throw-in from there. We'd mentioned Lawrence just getting in the lineup for Rose-Hulman. And that is Lawrence right there. This one lifted high in the air, no threat. As Henderson again there for the Panthers. They'll go back on the attack here. I always talk about, you get about that 20-minute mark, possessions become much less. Yeah, look at that ball just carries all the way.
And you look on the flip side, when Sabrina Henderson was down here, we're struggling to get it out of the 18 just because that wind is so vicious. That one, she put a little loft into it, kicked it out of the opposite base or the opposite goal line. So if that's not an indication of the kind of conditions they're dealing with, I'm not sure what is. So
the runner did find the ball, by the way.
Covered in thistles, though.
Boy, no kidding.
Hazard pay.
Exactly. So now we're under the 22-minute mark. Boy, and the one thing you don't want to do here, too, is you can't make a mistake. And, maybe.
But that's one thing that when it comes down to these, really important, matches, you tend to be prone to mistakes because you're clock watching a little bit. You can sense maybe a shift in momentum slightly. One bounce doesn't go your way and things change. So mistakes, obviously bound to happen, but you can definitely compound them in the late stages of games like this just because of the atmosphere, right? Student sections here, there's a little more on the line than just your average regular season game. So the goal is not to have those mistakes compound.
Well, and then missed opportunities. If you get an opportunity, it may not come again anytime soon. Hanover making another change.
Number 8, Bree Matisse.
Bree Matisse is out of Liberty Township, Ohio. Played her high school soccer at Lakota East. As we're coming up on the 20-minute mark. Again, that's where about you start thinking, how many possessions do we have left? Here's Hicks. Hicks tried to get through 2 defenders, couldn't do it, but they still, speaking of Rose-Hulman, a header, and it goes in. Our first goal, and it's going to be Hicks, who they left alone on defense, and Hicks puts it in, and Rose-Hulman leads it 1-0.
Wow. What a great cross into the box. Credit to Hicks for not giving up on that play and still attacking the net. Did a really good job. She is tall and she's long, and she did a nice job of being aggressive. That first shot of aggressiveness was really what started the whole play, right? That first touch, the ball got loose, and then the good cross into the box, and Hicks was able to put it away.
They said that was Marquardt who got the assist on that one. That was a great pass, and for whatever reason, Panthers kind of lost Hicks after she went to her left, right down the middle, and came right back, and a great header in her first goal. And it came with just over 20 minutes remaining. Now, how will Hanover respond here?
Well, she also did just a really good job of putting that exactly where the keeper didn't have a chance to get to it, right? You know, at certain times you're fighting with that defender, you just kind of try to put your head on it, but it looked like she placed that almost perfectly, that top right corner, not allowing the defender to, the goalkeeper to even get even close to a touch on that.
Well, let me ask you now, as Hanover back on the attack, this one lifted high toward the goal. You had Beth Cook coming from the left, but Dylan is there. The one thing you can do is don't relax. And the one thing, play maybe a little more possession soccer right here if you're Rose-Hulman, because you want to waste as much clock as you possibly can. But I'm sure that Hanover is going to be even maybe a step more aggressive here in our last 19-20. But if I'm Rose, I want that ball down at this end a lot more. Oh, big-time collision right there, and Beth Cook went down. It'll be a throw-in.
Well, and the thing that's got to give you confidence if you're the Engineers is that you know that you've been able to really pack it in and not really have any mistakes, right? So you did that the whole first half. You just have to repeat that, continue to play the kind of defense that you know how to play, be a pest, and get in those passing lanes, but a good opportunity here for Hanover.
We understand it is Rose leading transient volleyball action in their first set. We'll keep you updated as long as we can. Here we've got a corner ball header, and it's a deflected, still in the box though, but how about Rose-Hulman able to survive another corner there? And you can kind of tell now that Hanover playing with a little more sense of urgency, needing to get possessions and shots on goal, coming up on 18 minutes. And at some point, again, there's plenty of soccer left. You kind of sell out the rest of the way. That ball goes out of play. Intended, I believe, for Matisse down the line, but she couldn't get to it as Rodriguez will come out for Rose.
Sarah Shoemaker on to replace her.
Boy, I know when you're winning games like this, and it's been nip and tuck, it's been a struggle on offense, just getting shots on goal, but when you get that lead, that clock just seems to take forever.
Yeah.
But when you're on the other side, it seems like it goes really, really fast, and it's kind of a weird psychological thing, because I was a psych major, you know, so here is...
Were you a psych major, or were you committed to a psych ward?
I was just psyched, that's right. That was with my 4.0 in college, too. So 17-13 remaining. Every once in a while, you got to slip that in when you're. Transy won that first matchup in volleyball 25-19. I think they're the number one seed, are they not? Or are they the. Okay, so Transylvania, the number one seed in that tournament. You can, by the way, watch that matchup on HCAC TV as soon as this one is over. Don't leave yet, because this is going to come right down to the wire.
And you have to anticipate, if you're Rose, there's got to be a couple more punches, a couple more attempts coming, because you don't have any choice if you're the Panthers. You got to be a little aggressive here. So if you're Rose, you got to anticipate that, prepare for it, and really trust that back line of defenders they're going to be able to pack it in and make sure that they don't get any good looks.
By the way, Coach Watts is no longer sitting. He is up and walking the sidelines. You know, the other thing is, and it's kind of a little tricky thing you can do sometimes as a keeper, is when you get a goal kick, if you're ahead, you take your time putting that ball down and putting it into play, because you can run off some precious seconds. Now, I know you'll get a warning eventually, but I'm going to set it down, kind of look around a little bit, walk around. And
in the last meeting between these two, it was Hanover that scored in the second half, and I believe it was in like the 84th, 85th minute. So they've been in this position before, this exact spot against this exact team. So I'm sure there's a certain level of panic, but I think if you're Coach Watts, you just remind him, like, this is no different than our regular season matchup, right? I mean, we tied that one at 1, and this time we have the benefit of overtime, and we have the benefit of potentially penalty kicks. So reminding this team, this experienced team, that they've had this experience before is really important.
One other aspect when you look at Rose-Hulman now is with that wind pushing against them, they would love to clear the ball as much as they can. Only problem is they can't because of the way the wind is blowing. So they've got to really work everything short, and if they can find a way to get the ball up the pitch on the pass on the ground, they will, because they're not getting it through the air. And if they want possession soccer at this stage, that's how they're going to have to do it. I know they want to try to find Hicks, and she does a great job getting the ball up the pitch as well on her own. We've seen her clear a couple of Hanover players, and that's a pretty good ball right there. That's a rarity here today. Because Hanover's going to have to reset as they'll work it. They like to the right side, and then if they can find Beth Cook, who is now on that right side, but she will do a nice job coming back to the middle. And if you can get Dillon out of position, center that ball, and find Cook, that's really kind of the strategy you would have there for the Panthers. But if I'm on the other side, Rose-Hulman, I want to play control soccer right here. I want to possess, and make a good pass. Do not turn it over like that. And that was a little frustration. You kind of tell right there that Shoemaker, if a good pass is there, she can find a lane up this right side, but the pass went behind her.
Well, we talked about how the cleaner team is probably going to win, and personally, I would say that that's been Rose-Hulman in this second half. I think they've done a nicer job of controlling the ball, possessing, and sharing the ball as well.
Sammy Abston is ready to come in a couple of moments. So for Hanover, we'll see Emily Duffy come in as well. Clark will be back in the lineup for Rose-Hulman as the clock down to 13:10. Rose-Hulman getting that goal from Kyra Hicks, her 9th goal of the season. And another wise defensive play there for Rose-Hulman. And now we'll see the changes come in. Everybody trying to stay fresh now down the stretch. And by the way, Hicks coming out, she played the entire match, I think. I don't think she got a break in the first half.
And in the contest for the Panthers,
she does look a little gassed, doesn't she?
And you mentioned she's long.
Yeah.
She can cover a lot of territory down the pitch as well, and we saw that earlier in her ability to get to that ball once it was centered.
It's interesting for her position to be kind of an attacking midfielder forward, to have that kind of size. Usually you have those forwards be the small, quicker players, but it came in advantageously for the Engineers today because that header was really impressive.
By the way, that assist, if it was Marquardt, it was her 4th assist of the year. And by the way, for Coach Watts, he's going to make another change as Johnson will come in. Kaylin Johnson, a junior out of Ashland, Kentucky, trying to find a combination right here if he can maybe get his best offensive unit in there at this stage that they can get an attack put together. Jaden Gibson coming out, the sophomore out of Brownsburg there for Rose-Hulman. Boy, you look at the way that Rose-Hulman is defended here today, and just as, again, you're holding a team that's been averaging 3.4 goals per game. You have shut them out so far. That's big.
Good opportunity here. Got a free kick. Did a nice job there. Did Kenna Patterson of drawing that free kick. So this is a big one.
It is. Well, what's your strategy? You're going to see the wave coming from the right. And you have a 3-person wall in front of it. So where are you going to place this? Wind is behind you.
Well, it looks like they want to attack that far post a little bit.
Well, this is Bettner who will have the free kick, and you see everybody jostling for position.
That's
that
not
one
bad.
High and just over the top.
Wow.
That was very close to tying this one. That was a great kick.
It's a great time to go for it, too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that anybody was quite expecting to take a shot at it, but you've got the wind at your back. It's kind of favoring that right-to-left draw in there. It would have been it was a really nice idea, just couldn't quite execute.
Well, now can Rose-Hulman again play possession soccer right here, and everybody for Hanover playing in midfield and up, as we've seen, as Rodriguez receives near side, centering pass, as they'll work at top of the box at 18, and then stolen away. 9:54 to go. Rodriguez trying to take it away on the transition is Abston here on the near side, and you hear the cheer there for Rose-Hulman as that ball goes out of play on the near side. And that's going to be last touched by the Panthers, so Rose-Hulman will have a throw-in as well. And here's another area you can kind of take your time putting it in play, to an extent anyway, is that ball down the line. And the Fighting Engineers have an opportunity. The centering ball, far side, and they went post left. Unfortunately, the ball sailed all the way into the corner. But Rose-Hulman will hold on to the possession. This one high in the air and received there by Henderson. Really not a serious long ball there, but still, again, you never know the way that the conditions are played here today. I'm not so sure if I were the Fighting Engineers on that one, I would have brought it back, reversed it. If I had to reverse it again, I would. To waste a little more time on that clock, it's down to 8:42. Panthers, centering ball, stopped at the box and returned back to midfield.
You know, it's kind of a delicate balance to strike, right? Do you be aggressive and potentially put another one on the board and make it a 2-0 game, or do you waste more time, right? So I think you just got to – I think that opportunity was really good. It looked a lot like their first opportunity that they scored on. So I don't hate the move. I think in truth that was a pass because it appeared that Camilla Clark was on it. She was the target, and had the keeper Henderson not been in the way to aggressively snatch that ball out of the air, that would have been a pretty good opportunity.
Into the lineup now for Hanover will be Clara Finiseth, a sophomore out of Corbin, Kentucky. As Coach Watts still looking for that combination that might tie this one up, as we're down to 7:39 to go. Well, this has been a rather interesting matchup here today with all of the factors playing into this one, with the weather and everything else that's been going on. It's just been the kind of match we expect, as we thought, low scoring, but there just haven't been enough opportunities. 14 minutes to go in the men's game. Hanover still leads 1-0. Top two seeds going into that one. The top two seeds in this one as well. Panthers working it to the near side. Unfortunately, they cannot keep it in play. For the team that ends up losing this one, the seniors on the team playing their final game, which is always very difficult. And you don't want to see an offseason come even now. You've put in a lot of time and a lot of effort. You'd love to get that ring and then move on to the NCAA tournament. Clock down to 6:30. Ball played into the attacking third now for the Panthers, trying to get Beth Cook
But look at the Engineers just doing a really good job of swarming her when she has the ball.
Yeah.
They had 3 defenders on her, didn't let her get a clean touch on it, and were able to clear it out, reset.
Yeah, 20 goals coming in, and she's had a heck of a year. Only a sophomore out of Goshen, Ohio, so she's only going to get better and better. But right now, all that Rose-Hulman cares about is getting that ball into the offensive side of things. And there's a collision. A couple of players go down hard, and one of those was Kylie McKee, senior defenseman there, and she is still down. They will not stop play at this stage, and that's going to go wide, a little bit high and wide. And that would have been, again, a perfect opportunity, as they will check on the injured player, and it looks like it, again, might be her lower back.
That was a heck of a collision, though. Both players fighting for the ball. It didn't appear to be anything nefarious. No. Just two players really fighting hard, hustling for a loose ball.
Well, the good news is for Rose-Hulman fans, she is up and okay, but kind of a scary moment there for McKee for just the moment. And she will come out of the lineup, but great effort there by McKee. Well, we're at crunch time. Clock did stop at 5:32 because of the injury. I think she might come right back in.
Re-enter.
Yeah, as soon as they can, they're going to get her back in the lineup. Too important of a piece to leave out when you talk about her defensive ability. Here's a corner now, and that one will sail to the back side of the net, but it was awful close. Now, the fans think that was a goal, but it was not.
Yeah, it looked close.
Yeah, maybe get half a point on the backside. And it looked good. I know the Hanover fans on the far side were cheering. Unfortunately, they don't let you score from the backside.
Gosh, and that's tough, too. 5 minutes left to not be able to at least get a good opportunity there to get a good strike on it. It's brutal. It's got to be super frustrating.
Well, back in the lineup is McKee. And, again, we talked about her ability to defend, and so she is back into the lineup. This ball intended for Cook down the line, and it goes past the end line.
It's a goal kick.
Yep. Hey, and again, Beth Cook doing the right thing, just bringing the ball back. And
hustling it up.
Yeah. I mean, come on, put it in play. Yeah. We're running out of time here. We need to get something going here pretty quick. And take a look there at Natalie Dillon. Dillon, boy, what a
She knows that
she's
game.
had.
She's not playing that game.
Yeah, that's
Come
right.
on.
I've seen that movie before. Clock down to 4:16. If Rose can get it into Hanover territory, waste some time right here, but now another opportunity that is thwarted. That ball centered into the box and then headed out. We're still fighting hard for that loose ball, and that's going to be a foul, I believe, against Hanover, as Nora Ludwig got a little bit too much jersey on that one, and so Rose-Hulman now down to 3:42. Going to try to send this one past midfield, and they will, and that's a good ball right there. If you are Rose-Hulman, a little give and go to the far side. Can they get another look right here? Into the box, left foot, and just a little bit wide to the right. Well, that would have sealed it right there for Rose-Hulman, but now Hanover's going to have to work a lot quicker. They were the regular season champions by just 2 points over Rose-Hulman. They finished undefeated at 7-0-2 on the regular season in conference play. Rose-Hulman, by the way, undefeated at 6-0-3. So now that ball sails high in the air. 50-50 ball available there. Ball into the box right side. Players go down. Rose-Hulman wanted a foul call. Their bench doesn't believe that nobody blew a whistle on that one as the official let him play through. By the way, we just found out that the 80th minute, the men's match is now tied at 1 apiece. So that one is going to be interesting on the finish there. We're down to 2:27, and as long as Rose-Hulman can keep the ball in this end, they can really waste a lot of time. And you know Hanover's going to get tired chasing here. That ball intended for Rodriguez down the sideline. All the players now for Rose-Hulman at midfield. Their defenders are up. Their middies are up because they want to keep the ball in this end. This will be Henderson. And she can get some distance. The wind is behind her. Under 2 minutes remaining. Hanover trying to work it past midfield. They will. What do the Panthers have left here as they get it into the attacking third? But they got to work it back to the middle if they can. We're keeping an eye on Cook, but then stolen away. Big takeaway there. And we've got another turnover at midfield. Panthers get it back with a minute 32. That ball caroms to the near side. Marquardt is there. She's looking to the middle. Nothing available. Good defense again. Looked like that might have been Rodriguez down the sideline. Ball centered. and then kick back out front. Here's where Rose can milk some more clock, and they're going to play possession right here. That is Clark, and it goes out of play.
But again, it goes back to that finding a balance of not, of being too aggressive and sitting back. But now with a minute left, if you're Hanover, you have got to push.
Yep, and possession is going to be big right here. Boy, nice play up the right sideline by Clark, and Clark's just going to keep it in play all the way to the corner, because now you're looking at 40 seconds to go. Even if you give possession up right here, it's going to take some time to get down there.
A lot of ground to cover.
And they'll have to have a throw in. And any time here that Rose can get a leg on it and push it back the other way. But now, here come the Panthers. They have an attack left in them here. Ball lifted high toward the keeper, and there is Dillon with one bounce. 15 seconds remaining in this one. Another low-scoring affair here, and 6 seconds remaining as the ball goes out of play on the far side. We're down to 2. We're down to 1, and it is over. Officially in the books now as Rose-Hulman, the number 2 seed, knocking off the number 1 seed Hanover Panthers 1-0 here this afternoon. And what a matchup we had, and there you see the celebration. It came to just the one goal by Kyra Hicks, the team's leading goal scorer and leading point scorer. And so the automatic bid will go to the Fighting Engineers of Rose-Hulman.
You got to give them credit. They played exactly what they wanted to do. They played really staunch defensively. They didn't let the back line get out of position. They got in the way of a lot of passes, a lot of shots from Hanover. And then in the second half, they just took advantage of an opportunity. I mean, it was a good bounce, and it was just a really good header to put that in the back of the net for the lone goal of the game.
Well, and give Rose-Hulman a lot of credit, because they came in here at Hanover in the overall series 8-0-1. They've gotten one tie, but that's their biggest win by far when you consider even the last time they played and won back in 2019, where they won both of those matchups 1-0 and 3-2. But this again was for the championship, and their defense has just really proven to be so strong here this afternoon. And they pick up the win, and they will take the trophy back again to Rose-Hulman, and then await to see what the tournament draw will look like for the NCAA Division III Women's Tournament. That ride home is a whole lot better when you get that win, because they have to go, they say it's about 2.5 hours to go to Indy and over. So I think their ride will be very enjoyable on their way home here this afternoon. The men's game, as we mentioned, they were in the 80th minute, I believe, of that one, and it was tied at 1 apiece. So another matchup between Rose-Hulman and Hanover on the other side, and that looks like that thing may be an overtime game this afternoon. So we want to thank everybody for being with us here today. The champions, Fighting Engineers of Rose-Hulman, as they are now the automatic qualifier to the women's NCAA tournament. Thanks to our entire crew. Great job as always, Adam. Thank you as well. And we'll see you next time right here on IndianaSRN and HCAC TV.
Recognize the members of the HCAC All-Tournament team. From Bluffton, Taylor Dye. From Transylvania, Abby Dean. From Mount St. Joseph, Kerrigan Pollard.